Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday, Meal Prep Live. One moment here, I'm just pumpkin. I'll tell you about this in a sec. Just so I don't burn the bottom of my pan. Water. Tin tomatoes. This is pumpkin soup. I was just frying off some onions. Threw some pumpkin in. I weighed the pumpkin, weighed the onions, tomatoes, a couple of tins of tomatoes, and I'll season that. And I'll put, one moment, I've lost stock. Hang on. I'll find it soon. Bone broth stock concentrate that I get from Woolworths. Neutral Organics brand, I think it is. Anyway, so that will make my stock. So I've just put water in, then I'll put the concentrate in with it to make it stock. Put some seasoning in. That will simmer away and I'll blend it this afternoon. So, yes, I'm here in my pajamas, hair not done, makeup not done. You're getting me very raw. I woke up early this morning. Now, I'll tell you about my meal prep plan in a moment, but I just want to talk about why I'm up so early and getting this done today. So Dean and I spent a lot of time yesterday, all day in the garden. We let the gardens go, unfortunately. All the weeds are overgrown, like they were like waist height in these. We've got big rock gardens. It was like there was a squatter living here, I tell you. Anyway, we did lots of weeding yesterday. I'm so sore. So this weekend, leg day is not happening. My back, for those of you who know, I have had back surgery, fully ruptured, had a severe rupture in my S1L5, and I am stronger and better than I have been, but I discovered yesterday that action is not great, the bending over, the squatting, for a long period of time. My back was kind of feeling it yesterday. I still do get some numbness in my leg and foot, so the nerve is not fully healed. So I think just being on stretch with you bending down and then you try and squat, but you can't do that anyway. Yesterday we did that. We still have a little bit left to do, which Dean is outside doing this morning, but we have his social club event today, which is out at Seaforth at a beautiful, it was just this couple that started at their own home, they're Italian, authentic Italian pizzas, and they've expanded and it's become really, really popular, and you literally go sit out in their paddock and they just stick a marquee up, and they've got an outdoor wood fire, big massive wood fire, and they literally just make it in the paddock, and it's amazing. It's really amazing. Anyway, we're doing that for the social club, his social club lunch today, and it's a fairly early lunch, and I'm trying to balance all these things of this yard has to be done. We can't leave it any longer, and we finally got some cool weather. Living in the tropics, it's really hard in summer because it's either just, stinking hot with 98% humidity, or it's bucketing storms. So we finally got a chance to get in and to do that, and I don't want to let that go. So leg day isn't happening this weekend. It is just too much because I just want to nurse my back. I don't want to put it underneath too much, and history tells me when my back is tired, that's when I end up injuring myself. So none of that today. However, I am juggling everything. So we spent all day doing that yesterday. I did put my shopping order in, and when we took a break from the gardening in the morning, Dean went and did a green waste dump, and I went and just collected my shopping. I did online shopping to make it really quick and easy, collected it. So everything was here for first thing in the morning. And this morning, as much as I didn't want to do an early get up this morning, I had two choices. It was either get up early and get some food prep done, so then we can go to lunch, enjoy lunch for as long as we choose to, and then we're going to come home and just do nothing. Our poor bodies. This is when I know I'm 50. Oh my God, I don't like gardening. I cannot. Well, we're actually going to move into an apartment. We're just deciding where we want to live. Gold Coast, Perth, somewhere like that. Anyway, we have a Perth trip coming up for anyone who's interested. Yeah, so we're doing that in about 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Going to go back and see the fam and have a little look around Perth and see if it's somewhere where we would like to go back and live. I grew up there, but I haven't been, I visited. I haven't actually been back to Perth for long time. how old were my kids? I think about 10 years I haven't been back to Perth. So it'll be nice to get back there and see everyone. My sister's been over here and I've seen her, but it's been 10 years since I've been in Perth. So we're going to do that and go have a look. But yeah, I don't like the gardening. Anyway, we've still got more to do. Dean's out there doing that now. And because I got my shopping organised, and meal prep is a non-negotiable for me. I'm telling you, absolute non-negotiable, because it sets my week up. And it's kind of like, you know, you wouldn't wash your work clothes if they were the only ones you had and you had to go to work the next week. You wouldn't just not do it. That has to be a priority for you that week. If you've got a doctor's appointment scheduled, you know that you have to go to that doctor's appointment. So it becomes a priority, and whether you want to or not, you do it. So meal prep is that for me, because when I do that, I free up so much time during the week, a couple of hours every day of not having to shop, prep, cook, do dishes, Monday to Friday. It's all there ready to go for me. So it's an absolute non-negotiable. So I am, normally I get up on a Sunday. There's my gardener. Normally I get up on a Sunday and I, you know, have a easy morning, just, I don't know, fuck around scrolling, you know, I do nothing. And then when I'm ready, I get up and I do my meal prep, and I'm all done by lunchtime. But I don't mind that. I stretch the morning out, I play some music, I really enjoy it. I don't have time for that this week. So the choice was get up early and get it done before we go, or after being out and relaxing and having a great time with friends and choosing how long we want to be out, I would have to come home and do meal prep. I know me. I am a morning person, and if once I stop jobs, whether it's work or whether it's cooking or whatever it is, once I stop jobs in the afternoon, see, I don't get started again. It's why I don't train in the middle of the day either, because if I break from work and go and train, I won't do anything when I get home. I just know me now, so I'm learning to work with me, and that is one of the things. So I have chosen to get up early. Dean's gotten up early to finish the gardening while it's a little bit cooler, so he's doing that, I'm doing this, and then we get to clean up, go to lunch, fucking enjoy ourselves, come home. I'll have some steak to cook, because in my exhaustedness yesterday when I went and picked up the shopping, I forgot to get the rump steak. So what am I cooking today? I have already done some turkey. I'll show you. There it is. Turkey breast with some onion powder, garlic powder, salt, just fried off in a pan in batches. And I have a pumpkin soup going. So that's going to be our lunch this week. Dean wanted pumpkin soup. He loves pumpkin, loves soups. We don't get much cold weather here in Mackay, so I'm taking advantage of the little bit of cold that we've had, and I am making a soup. A great thing that this does to help you control your macros is I've got a soup recipe, pumpkin soup recipe, already done up in my Chronometer. I use Chronometer, by the way. If you want a link for it, I'll send it to you. The free version is the best version that I've come across in tracking apps. You can get the paid version, you get a few extra features, but you don't need them. You absolutely don't need them. They're just nice to haves, but it's one of the most accurate for, especially for nutrition and all that sort of stuff. So I use Chronometer. I've got a pumpkin soup recipe set up already. So all I have to do is I use roughly the same amount of onions every time. I'm always using the tin tomatoes. We always use stock. So all what I do is weigh the pumpkin off before I throw it in. So there was 1.8 of pumpkin. So I'll go into the recipe and I'll actually change the amount of pumpkin, save, and then just reweigh at the end of cooking it and adjust that in the recipe. And I now have an accurate macro recipe there without redoing a whole recipe and having to weigh everything. All I did was weigh the pumpkin before it went in after I'd chopped it up. I'll put my soup bowl that I put in the fridge with all my soup, I'll put that on the scale, and as I blend, I'll weigh it off, and there is my recipe. When we have it for lunch, we can serve the amount of soup that we need for carbs, and then we can serve in the amount of ground turkey that we want. So we're adding protein to the soup in our own amounts because they're held separately, but we just reheat it like that, and then we're just going to put some Parmesan cheese and cracked pepper on top. So it'll be really, really yummy. I've used turkey breast. Dean and I prefer just the basic turkey mince that's got the dark meat in with it, but it's also got some fat and stuff in it as well. And my recipe this week for dinners is a little bit higher in fat. So I'm choosing the turkey breast this week for lunch to help lower my fat in a day because dinner is heavier in fat. So see the way I'm manipulating there? So that's been really easy to do. So dinner is going to be Thai beef salad. I've got some cucumber, tomatoes, and a bit of iceberg lettuce and some mint for the side salad. Side, on the side, small amount. It's not a massive bowl of kale and leaves with a sprinkling of beef in it. No, it is a side salad. My actual carbohydrate is going to be coconut rice. So I do rice, and when we do the 2 parts of water, so it's 1 part rice, 1 part water, and 1 part light coconut milk. So this is where the fat's coming from, and even though I use the milk, not the cream, and the light version, it still has a bit of fat in it, but that's fine. I've compensated, see how I'm compensating within the day with fat. So I have a higher fat dinner. I make sure what I do for lunch is lower fat. So you can really balance your macros out quite easily like that. The biggest balance in a meal is you want your protein and your carbs there to be balanced, and then your fat should just kind of fall where it just kind of falls in the day, gives you a bit more flexibility. So that's the way I'm doing that. Yeah, and the rump, I've just got to marinate the rump, and I'll make a sauce this morning. So my turkey's already done, soup is now on. I'll make the sauce and chop up the salad ready to go. And while I'm doing that, the rice will be on. I'll come home with the rump and cook that on the barbecue, and I'm done. And then it just gets put together on the night, and I'll show you that during the week. So that's really quick and easy. And my breakfast is a make on the run one. I do skim milk protein pancakes, skim milk pancakes with berries and maple syrup, juice, coffee. That's my breakfast. So, and I've already made cottage cheese, which will be in my training snack. You can always buy your cottage cheese. I can't buy nice cottage cheese, so I make my own. It's like a 2-second job, so, and it can be just sitting, because it's got to sit and drain, and it's got to sit and curdle and all that sort of stuff, but it can be on while you're doing something else at home, so it's actually not another task that you're finding time for. So I did that yesterday while we were gardening. I just had a timer set so I could come in and check it. So that's it. That's all I'm doing. But I'm making sure I get it done, because otherwise the rest of my week is going to be me cooking dinners every night and me trying to find something for lunch. And there's no way known I'm ever going to meet macros if I'm scratching around, going to shops, spending time prepping. So, you know, you're spending all that time prepping every night when you can just do the same thing all in one, and it doesn't take you that much longer when you accumulate the time together. So when people first start tracking, they find it really, really overwhelming to do the menu and get the meal prep done. And it's one of those things that sometimes, like, you're training a lot and you're willing to commit to that. But the biggest thing I see is you're a professional driven woman and gets into the gym, and you're not afraid of that hard work. But then when it comes to your food, you're living on salads and dry fucking chicken breast or whatever it is that you think is clean eating, healthy eating, and you're prepping it as you go. And you may have tried tracking macros before and go, no, it doesn't work, I'm always in my app. The key is you must plan in advance, and sometimes that means taking a weekend where you go, I'm not doing any social events, I'm going to give up some of my weekly cleaning, like do you have to mop the floors that day? Can you do it another day? Can you ask someone to help you do something? And just say no to the social events for one weekend and sit down and work it out. Get your meal plan done, because once you start doing it, it becomes super, super quick. But it's a skill. You've got to learn how to do it to begin with. So just spend that time and that weekend, do that prep, and then you go, okay, I'm kind of organized now. I know how I can do that better next time. But what you've actually just done by saying no to a few things one weekend and just getting it on, you've now kick-started yourself. You have to invest a bit extra time in the first place to create the space and save time, whereas everyone's going, oh, I don't have time to meal prep. No, you don't have time to do any meal prep because you're still cooking your fucking dinner every night. Like that, and then you're sitting in your app trying to match the macros up, and then you're in your cupboard going, fuck, I've still got 30 grams of protein and I've got no fat. How do I get that in? Oh, I can have a scoop of protein powder in a glass of water. Ew, fuck, no way. That's why you are failing at tracking, because you're not thinking about this in advance. And the thing that always really surprises me, when you're a driven woman, you've been successful in your career, you've raised your kids, you've run the household, you're boom, 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 you're so on it. Treat this like a project. Establish how you're going to create the time, and that is within the meal prep. So you establish by doing a meal plan, and then you carve off a piece of time, which is what you would do at a project work or for something at work where you saw a process wasn't efficient. Everything's still got to keep going, doesn't it? So then you've just got to create a bit of time to put that prep in to then create the time savings and efficiencies in the future. Now you do it at work, but you don't want to do it at home. You just say, oh, it's all too much. Say no to the kids for fucking once. No, I'm not running you to little Johnny's house today. They can come here or someone can come pick you up. I'm not doing that this weekend. It is okay to say no to your kids once in a while. It is okay to say to the husband, I'm not going to have time to vacuum and mop this weekend. I've got to get this meal prep done. Can you vacuum and mop? Like just create some space. Or, you know what? Don't scrub the bathroom that weekend. It's not going to kill you. You know, if it got done last weekend, does it really need to get done this weekend? Just once to create the space. Stop being obsessive over cleaning your house just for one weekend and create space to do that meal prep, because as soon as you've done it once, you've now created space for the rest of the week, because for the rest of the week, you're not going to the shops, you're not prepping the food, you're not cooking the food, you're not doing the dishes. So you've now got all this space. I use it to go to the gym. So I know I can work right up to 5 o'clock. Even when I start early in the morning, I can do long hours. I can work till 5 o'clock, stop, go to the gym, get home, and I don't have to worry about cooking or anything. I just grab my food out of the fridge, reheat it, and I'm done. So I've created space for me to train, because I train better in the afternoon. I'm not an early morning trainer. I just don't get the gains. So I just get up early and get stuck into work straight away. That's just what I do. And then I train in the afternoon and don't have to cook. It's so, so good. But I am always astounded at how there are so many driven, intelligent, achieving women that have got these successful careers, even women that haven't had careers, that have raised a family, that have been boom, 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 you know, they're on everything. They've got the kids organised, the sports, they've got, you know, the routine, the roster, everything, and everything runs smoothly. But then when you go track and prep, they go, oh no, I don't have time for that. Create the time. Do you think you had time for kids when you started? No, but you create the time, don't you? It's what you choose to prioritise. Did I want to get up early this morning on a Sunday and have to prep? Well, no, I didn't want to do that. Sorry, I just had to turn the heat up on that. I didn't want to do that, but I have a priority, okay? And if I want to go out and enjoy today and come home and not have to think about cooking again, I needed to make it a priority this morning. So I got up, I had my breakfast, had my coffee, and got straight into it. And I also, knowing that we were having this weekend, because we've known for a few weeks we were doing this, I've also chosen things that are really easy to do. Like I'm not doing normally we do sweet potato in the air fryer, but you've got to do it in batches, and I'm home on a Sunday and I don't mind doing that. And that kind, I just come backwards and forwards and give it a shake and put the next batch in. But it takes a number of hours to do that. And that's fine normally, I'm okay doing that. But that's not for this week, because I'm not going to be home today. So I've chosen differently this week. I've chosen soup. I literally fry off some onions, chop some pumpkin, throw it in a pot, let it boil while I get ready to go out. I'll turn it off and blend it when I get home. It's really like, I'll do a little bit when I get home, but it's not going to be much at all. That, and well, the steak would be done if I had remembered it yesterday, but I didn't. So that will be done when I get home too. But everything else is done. Even the steak, I could leave it until tomorrow night when we're actually getting ready for dinner and just cook all the steak at once while I get the other stuff, and then it's still done for the rest of the week, isn't it? So it's about creating that space, but it also is about, if you are serious about building that body, you know, there's no point being someone that hits the gym 5-6 days a week, never gives it up, arranges everything around their gym. You know, you've got that commitment, you've got that drive, you love being in the gym, but then you don't understand why you're not building the body. And then when we look at your nutrition, it's you eating salads and scratching around, and you've got no idea whether you've got balanced meals. Your energy's lagging, your sleep shit, all this sort of stuff, and but you still keep turning up to the gym. You never let that go, but you're not giving nutrition the right attention that it needs. And to build a body, so when people start saying, oh, you know, I want to look like I train. If you want to look like you train, that is an athlete body. We need to understand this. That is years of building muscle and getting your body fat down to lean in a healthy way. If you do stage bodybuilding, they'll get you down like that, right? You'll spend 6 months in a deficit, but it ruins your body. I've just watched my daughter. I mean, she's still recovering now. She will recover, but your body is not good and it's not fun. You know, I watched her on the treadmill in the gym crying over something very simple, but it was because, you know, emotionally she didn't have the capacity because she was so depleted. But you can't do it like that. So you've got to spend time building this body, and it becomes an athlete body. So you need to understand that an athlete, so if you had even like your kids, if your kids play soccer, right? They aren't just going to show up to the game every weekend and be awesome at it, are they? No, they've got to go to training. They've got to do drills. They've got to learn new skills. They've got to improve the skills they've got. They've got to make sure that they've had a really good breakfast before they go and train. They've got to make sure they've had their afternoon snack before you drop them off at training, because otherwise they're going to be too hungry for dinner and they'll be tired and cranky. And you know it, that's what little kids used to be like. You might not have little kids anymore, but that's exactly what was happening. And yet you don't do it for you and you say, I want to look like I train. If you want to look like you train, you need to start treating yourself like an athlete. You need to eat like an athlete, which is nourishment. That doesn't mean salads. You need to nourish your body. Carbs are not the enemy, people, by the way. Stop overeating in protein. This is, you know, there's a big narrative around carbs are not the enemy. And I know they're not, and I promote all of that too. But what I'm seeing more and more of is, you know, people going, oh, eat enough protein. If you're someone who's already in the gym and you're going, I'm eating clean, and you're already aware that you need to eat protein. The problem is that you're now overeating in protein and you don't get enough carbs. Like, stop smashing yourself with protein. You actually don't need that much. I've seen women on 180, 200 grams of protein a day. Like, that's fucking huge. Most women can get away with 130 as just an average there. When you start training harder, you might want it a little bit harder. When you diet, you might want it a little bit lower to just allow for more carbs. So there are nuances within this. Remember, there's always nuances depending on where you're at and where you started. But generally, if you work for 130 grams of protein, that's fine. Stop smashing the protein and not giving yourself good carbs. That's another thing I see. You know, and you're so committed to your work. You run your house, you go to your job, you go to training, and yet you're not treating your body like an athlete. And an athlete will nourish their body. So it's about nourishment and fueling. So correct fuel timing and correct times of fuel around training. And then treat training is training, your strength training. So learn how to train properly. Stop Googling all this shit and doing ChatGTP fucking generic plans. Work out what's good for your body. And I can tell you now, at a 40 plus perimenopausal woman should not be doing 4 or 5 sets, should not be doing, 7, 8 exercises. Probably shouldn't be doing 5, 6 days a week, because recovery is really important. So you've got to structure it really smart, because you can actually get more gains with less work if you allow yourself to recover, and the way you train is really good. So to get that intensity, you've got to also have a skill. But anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent around training. This was mainly about nutrition today. So just remember that if you want that body that you keep talking about and you're saying you want to look like you train, you have to fucking nourish yourself, and that is going to require some planning. An athlete doesn't show up and just go, hey, I ate shit all week. I didn't worry about macros because it's just too fucking hard and I don't have time. Do they do that? No. So your body is... You're trying to get your body to a place where it is of an athlete status, and you've got to start fucking treating it like that. If anyone who's got that body, they might not verbally go, oh yeah, I'm an athlete, but anyone, particularly women who have that, I look like I train look, live like a low-key athlete. Now, I'm not saying you're going to the Olympics, but you need to treat yourself like you're actually training for something, and that requires fuel and nourishment as well. So create space. It just makes sense that even if you're not someone who is training hard or whatever, meal prep for busy career-driven women, got kids on the go, all the rest of it. I don't know how you've survived without meal prep if you're not doing it. Like, fuck, I used to... Oh my God, I'm so glad I don't have so many kids in the house now, and I can actually do it, because we had 4 kids in the house at one point. And meal prepping for 6 people, and the kids ate bar one because he was a bit younger. The other 3 ate as much as Dean and I, so it was really hard prepping for like 6 people. So I'm really glad I don't have that now. And this is the beauty of being 40, 50. Our kids are so independent now. They're either off doing their own thing, even though they're still at home, that half the time you're not feeding them, or they can actually just look after themselves. The last year that my daughter was here, she just cooked her own food. We didn't cook for her. She lived here, you know, was all part of the family, but she just looked after her own food. It was just easier for her because she was also tracking as well. She wanted different things. She wasn't necessarily liking what I was cooking. So she looked after herself. There's no reason why your adult children, you know, once they get to 17, 18, 19, they should be looking after themselves, not you. All right, so this is the beauty of midlife. We actually get to create space for ourselves. They're not little anymore, so take time for you. Invest a little bit of time in prepping. Learn how to plan your meals in advance and prep, and then the rest of your week runs. I'm actually going to go now because it's 10 past 8. I've still got a couple of other things to do for prep, and I do have to shower and get ready. It's a little bit of a drive out to this farm that we're going to, and it's an early lunch, an 11 o'clock lunch. So I've got to get my shit together and hopefully help Dean a little bit before I get out there. Oh, funny story. I'll tell you about it. One more thing before I go, because there's a few of you on here. Last night I looked at Dean. He'd been wearing his old like reading glasses while he had been working and everything. Bit of eye protection, but you know, he doesn't wear glasses full time, but it is a bit irritating when he's trying to do some things and up close can't see. So he had that, he put them on again last night, sat down, he still had those ones, and he put them on again, and I went, are your glasses broken? So I was looking at the frame and it was cracked here. And he went, oh, and he's looking at it like this, and he goes, and his finger went straight through. But they were broken on the other side as well, and there was no lens. So he had kept this old broken frame that he had replaced years ago, and he thought he would, and replaced with exactly the same frame, and they had lenses in them. So he had the broken set, and he had the lens set. So he just saw them in the cupboard when he picked up the keys for the garage and went, oh yeah, I should wear those ones instead. And they're one script behind what he's doing now, but he can still see with them. Better than nothing at all. He's going, oh, no wonder why I couldn't see all day. I was thinking I needed to upgrade my glasses. He had done the whole day with no fucking lenses in his glasses. And he was whippersnippering going, oh no, I shouldn't need to put safeties on. I've got my glasses on, I'll be right. So he was whippersnippering and he said I could feel stuff flicking up at me, and I was like, oh, geez, that's really getting in under the sides there. But he had no lenses. So he'd done the entire day thinking his eyes were really fucked and he needed new glasses, but he just needed some lenses inside of a frame that had nothing. Anyway, I got a lot of giggles out of that last night. In fact, I had a real belly laugh over that one. Anyway, lovelies, have a wonderful Sunday. I'm going to finish my meal prep and then I'm going to go enjoy some pizza with my beautiful friends and come home and relax. You do the same. Bye.